At Total Pharmacy Care, we fill your prescriptions and answer any questions about your medications. No distractions and no long lines. Tell your doctor to send your prescriptions to Total Pharmacy Care. Welcome back to another episode of Unwired Appalachia. Coolest podcast in the land. This is season 2, episode number 11. Shout out to Barry Larkin.
I gotta go with you. I love Barry Larkin.
I was
going to say Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, all-time Reds, great. I mean, I loved him growing up.
Best shortstop of all time.
Probably the best in my mind. The best.
He's better than Cal Ripken in my mind.
I was at a Reds game when I was like 8 years old. Sat next to his family, got signed baseball. Ooh. Yeah, I wish I still had that ball. Wow. But anyway. Quick thank you to our sponsors. Real quick, Bruce Walters. Bruce Walters has just updated pricing on all of their new inventory. Go check them out if you're in the market for a new or used car. BruceWaltersFord.net.
Your turn, Josh.
Oh. Well, if you're looking for quality care for loved ones, look no further than Presbyterian Homes of Cedar Creek and Good Shepherd of Phelps. Both facilities treat your loved ones with care and respect. They offer therapy, daily activities, exquisite cuisine, and home-like settings to make your family members feel at home. Call to schedule an appointment today at Cedar Creek. Call Jessica Thacker, Trevor's wife, at 432-8243. And at Good Shepherd, call 456-8725. Caring for your loved ones is what we do best.
That just totally threw me off. He got through it perfectly.
That was great.
Okay, we also brought to you by Nova Pharmacy and Caremore Pharmacy. It's flu season, and the professional pharmacists at Nova Pharmacy and Caremore Pharmacy want to get you vaccinated. Call Joel or Sandy Thornberry today and get vaccinated and stay healthy. You can call Nova Pharmacy at 606-432-2274 and Caremore Pharmacy at 639-2273.
And before we get started, go down to the little, I think it's bottom right-hand corner. Click that like and subscribe button. Throw us a comment. We're on all the social medias at Unwired App. And we're joined by most of the usual suspects here, starting from my right, Josh Blankenship, staff sports writer for the Appalachian newspapers, and then Cody Blankenship, who is a staff writer for the Appalachian newspapers, new face on the episode, and then, as always, regional sports editor extraordinaire, Randy White. I'm Wes. Welcome back, and we're going to we're sitting on U-Pike's court. They just came off 2 big wins this weekend against Bethel, and the first one was Miami Hamilton of Ohio. The things I took away from this is U-Pike, very athletic team.
U-Pike, I didn't get to see on Friday night, but Saturday against Bethel, and Bethel's a really good team. Yeah, Bethel was a good team. A quality team in the NAIA nationally. U-Pike had just dominated them. I mean, they wore them down. Jordan Perry, come out and watch this kid play. Yeah. This kid should be playing D1 somewhere, or he very easily could be. He's one of the best guards you'll see at any level. He got going early. That opened the things up for U-Pike inside. Kelly Wells' team was clicking, and they play defense. If you like defense and fast breaks, come out and watch this U-Pike team. They get it going. And you know, they're down in South Alabama right now at the Gulf Shores. They're going to take on one of Kelly's former assistants, Richie O'Reilly, in South Alabama.
Yeah, they've got a super athletic team. I did see the game. I was on the call the game Friday night. The team was absolutely collapsed. Every time Luke Leahy got the ball in the middle, it was just like the entire defense collapsed in on him. So Jordan Perry had a really big game. I mean, he gets to the basket at will.
At will, and then Saturday he was knocking down threes too. He hit 3 threes in a row there in the first half. I think he finished the game with 24, 27, something like that. He was just playing unstoppable. Opened that paint up when he got going, and he's got handles. He's got good size, sees the floor well. And then once he gets going, he gets everybody involved.
Also, Jazz Parker, the grittiest player in NAIA.
On defense, there was several offensive fouls of him just guarding somebody. They have to shove him off.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal. Probably my favorite player to watch on that team, just because he's so gritty. He does a lot of those things that you don't necessarily see at the on the stat line, but I mean, he's just a great defensive player and kind of makes straw that stirs drink a little bit.
They have several of those players who play the defense. They go and get rebounds, and they can do a little bit. They got depth this year, which is a big thing for the U-Pike team. Yep. I think they got a shot to be very special. Would not shock me if they're not cutting down the nets in Kansas City, at the end of the year. It would not shock me at all.
I feel like it helps them, too, that they got a lot of willing passers on that team. Like, guys that don't care.
Oh yeah, very unselfish. Yep.
Yeah. So good luck to Kelly Wells and the U-Pike Bears down in South Alabama this week, and moving straight into more college basketball. Kentucky off the University of Kentucky basketball first, moving right off the heels of their second exhibition game against Kentucky State. We're getting ready to see where they're at because they're going to go up against the preseason number 1 team, the Michigan State Spartans. First time this is a crazy stat. First time in the history of Michigan State basketball they've been preseason number 1.
Really?
That's unbelievable.
That is
right?
Shocking.
As many good teams that they've had in the past, even
and Coach Tom Izzo, he's
fantastic.
Right.
That's no doubt Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So first time they've been preseason number 1. I don't love Kentucky's number 2. I just feel like in this day and age with the one and done, you never know what a team's going to be.
You don't know. You just don't know. It's too early to tell right now.
But
I mean, all these freshmen, how can you predict what a freshman's going to do?
Yeah, you don't know. Kentucky does. Here's what we do know. Kentucky's going to have a very athletic team. I expect them to be elite defensively. I mean, we've got guys that are just great athletes. Guys, we know what Ashton Hagans can do as a defender. Yeah. We're going to see if his jump shot came around. Yeah. I expect him to be the leader of this team.
You would imagine so. I mean, and you want to see what Quickly did if he improved. Yeah. You want to see some of these other guys if they improved. And then you want to see where the new guys are at and how they fit. You know, it's a tough thing to mix in new players with established guys. I mean, that is a tough thing to do.
Well, and I think in the Michigan State game, we'll get a pretty good idea of what the rotation is going to be. I think it's pretty likely we're 9 deep this year with Juzang, Maxey, Brooks, Whitney, Sestina, Richards, Montgomery, Quickly, and Hagans. I mean,
on paper, they should be filthy.
Right. That should be a team that but you never know with these Cal teams. And if you're like me, you kind of expect us to have some little bit of growing pains.
We're definitely going to have some growing pains. This is, by no means is this going to be an undefeated team. But I want to see how we shoot the three and how we shoot free throws in long term, because those are always the things that kill us in the tournament time. It's threes and free throws.
And the SEC, when Auburn's going to be tough, Florida's going to be tough. I mean, I think the SEC has a chance to be, which it was pretty good last year.
It's pretty good, yeah.
I think it could have a chance to be just as good, if not better. So it could be a tough road for Kentucky, but we're going to get to see. Big Super Tuesday, first Super Tuesday of the year with Champions Classic.
What a way to kick it off.
What a way to kick it off. So, not a big one that time. Soft one for you. All right. So going into high school football, we had a big week this past week with Johnson Central going to Belfry and getting a huge win. Pikeville beating Ridgeview at home.
And then he covered Man and Tug Valley. Tug Valley's season was on the line, and they came up big. We'll start off there, Josh, if you want to talk about what Tug Valley did this past weekend. I know you've been big on that team all year, Ethan Varney and company.
I'll tell you what, man. I've enjoyed going to every Tug Valley game I've went to. I think Ethan Varney has tore it up all season long. I mean, he'll throw a couple picks, but he comes back hard after those. And he'll even go and get his own on the defensive side. But I think the story of the game for the Tug Valley versus Man game was pretty much Tug Valley's defense, because they were coming up with, they were forcing 3 and outs and turnover on downs every possession. Man couldn't do anything in the second half. So,
and just reading your story, it seemed like Man had control up 12-0 for most of the game, and then Tug Valley finds a way to come back and rattles off 20 straight points to win it.
Yeah, man, and I think they did that a lot, on the legs of Ethan Varney. They were running a lot of QB draws and a lot of RPOs and read options and stuff like that, and just letting him make decisions and be an athlete. And in the end, he ended up taking over the game as far as the offensive side goes. But that defense, man, that's the story for me.
And then, talk about how big Johnson Central going on the road to Belfry, which is, I don't care what the Belfry team is, that's a tough task.
In Johnson Central, they were playing for, they hadn't had a good game in a while. Hadn't played a good team in a while. Harlan County, you can say, is a pretty good team, but they beat them 56-6. They're not going to show a lot again in a game like that. Playoffs coming up. They needed the RPI ranking and a little boost beating a good team like Belfry. They just came out and jumped all over Belfry. I mean, people look at the final score, but they jumped out 24-0 on Belfry at Belfry.
Yeah.
And was doing pretty much what they wanted there early on. Belfry settled down and played better, but you got to give Johnson Central credit because they came out, they were physical. Everybody was making plays. Cody Rice, you don't hear his name a lot. Devin Johnson was all over the place. I mean, Riley Priest throwing the ball down the field. They were mixing everything in, and it was still power football, even when they were throwing the passing game in there. Power football on defense. Yeah. I mean, just a great game, and you know Belfry's going to bounce back. You know,
for sure.
Isaac Dixon's still not 100%. Yeah. Some of these other guys still not 100%, but they're going to be ready for the class. This is just going to make them better for the first round of playoffs.
Yeah,
it'll refocus them, and they'll get back on track.
And then you hate to describe anything as business as usual, but Pikeville just handling business again.
Just as good as Trent Atkins is, and as much talk as you hear about that, Pikeville's got. How many guys that you can tap that much? John Collum is one name. At the Isaac McNamee threw for nearly 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. He ran for 1. Jackson Hensley, Cody Raines. I mean, you go down the list, and the Pikeville's linebackers did a great job, and the defensive front, the front 7 especially, did a great job. I think they held Ridgeview to 170 rushing yards, which with one of the best players in the nation, that's a pretty good day.
Yeah, and they did what we expected them to do. We thought, the linebackers going to have a huge game against this Ridgeview rushing attack, and then just weapons all over the field.
I mean they're everywhere. Yeah. I mean, this team is special. I mean, as long as they stay focused, they got a great shot to win the state championship.
I think I've been on record saying this like all season long. I think Pikeville's really their only threat is themselves. Like if they don't beat themselves, I don't see anybody standing in their way because, man, they've had a bunch of tough games and time again they come through and they win these big games.
Yeah, but the only thing is once playoffs roll around, Hazard's going to get a new focus. Yeah. Paintsville's going to get a new focus. Riceville's going. I mean, it is. As good as Pikeville is, I mean, if they overlook somebody, which I don't think Mac will let this group do, but I mean, there's teams out there who are dangerous.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. We know they've set the bar high. They've got a huge target on their back going into the playoffs. Oh, yeah. But one thing we know about Pikeville is they're extremely well coached.
Extremely. And, I want to give a special shout out to Paul Sullivan, the defensive coordinator, used to play at Pikeville. Mm-hmm. He's done a phenomenal job with that defense, and these guys get after it. They're hungry, and they love to hit people. Yeah, I mean, so we'll take that right into talking picks, the new segment. Well, not new segment. Now it's a segment we're doing every week. So, here we go. We've got some high school football. We're going to start out with Lawrence County at Pike Central this coming week. Lawrence County at Pike Central.
I've got Pike Central.
I got Pike Central. I saw them the first time Pike Central beat them at home. I went Pike Central.
New guest picker, Cody Blankenship.
I'm going to roll with the Hawks.
Man, I took Lawrence County in this game. I don't know where Matt Anderson is. If Matt Anderson's
he played last week against Breathitt. He played. He only had, I think he rushed for 50 yards last week, but he did play. He had 11 carries.
Right.
Not a huge workload, but he played.
Yeah, so maybe they're still working him in. I took Lawrence County in this game, and then Martin County travels to Shelby Valley. Martin County at Shelby Valley.
I think I got Shelby Valley in this one, man. I think their rushing attack's just too potent, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I went Shelby Valley as well. I think Valley's a really good team who can make some noise in the playoffs.
Hey, I've got to roll Shelby Valley as well.
That's clean sweep. I took Shelby Valley in this game. I don't think I picked against them this year, but it doesn't matter. I'm picking Shelby Valley in this one. And going into college football, I feel so good about my college picks every week, and I've been good. If we cut this thing off at high school and college, I would be absolutely killing the game right now. Unfortunately, we do have NFL in there. So we'll start out Penn State at Minnesota. Penn State is looking very dangerous. A lot better than I think people even expected. They're 6.5-point road favorites against a tough Minnesota team. Minnesota's good.
Well, they ranked 11, 12, 13 somewhere.
Yeah, they're in the top 15. And
that 6.5 kind of scares me, but I still went Penn State, like just picking them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Penn State in this one too, man. I've liked them all season. I think I picked against them twice if we've had them on here that many times. And both times I picked against them, they proved me wrong. So I'm not picking against them again.
Hey, I'm not going to disagree. Penn State.
This was tough for me. What do they call it? They say row the boat or chop the wood or something like that up in Minnesota. Minnesota's a good team. I feel like this could be a trap game for Penn State. I still took Penn State, but I look for this one to be close.
That's 6.5.
I take Minnesota to cover it. I may likely do that, but it's too early to tell. Big one. The biggest game of the weekend. Huge. This has got national championship implications. If this is a close game, you might very well see these two teams in the national championship.
Depending on how the SEC championship shakes out.
Right. LSU at Alabama. Alabama opens up at a 6.5-point favorite. That number's going to go way down.
It has to. I was shocked when I saw that.
Yeah, this number's, I got to think, is going to be probably more along the lines of 2.5, if not lower, come Saturday.
I would imagine 2.5, 3.
Yeah. And this is open to anyone at the table to answer. Is Tua going to be healthy this week?
Yeah, Tua's going to play. There's no question Tua's going to. I mean, I would be stunned if Tua doesn't play in this game.
I think he has to. Yeah. I mean, if he doesn't, then I think it's going to be a long day for Alabama.
Yeah, Tua's going to play in this game. LSU at Alabama, Josh Blankenship.
I took Alabama, but that was just hoping that Tua played. Now, I do think LSU has a really good shot just because they have Joe Burrow, who's come out and balled all season long.
And they got some receivers.
Mm-hmm. And they definitely have some receivers, like Randy just said. So
they got a ton.
But I'm going to take Bama.
I went Bama. I just don't know. I mean, at Bama at home, it's a tough place to play. Nick Saban's still the head coach. I kind of want LSU to win.
I do too.
But I took Bama just because I don't know. It's Nick Saban.
No,
it's hard to bet against him.
Yeah.
Man, I cannot pick an Alabama game and pick Alabama.
So he's going to LSU. Then.
I'm going to go with LSU. And I think the main thing to watch is Alabama on offense. They have that quick strike ability, as opposed to LSU is more of a methodical kind of grind you down. Mm-hmm. I think that LSU is going to run the ball. Joe Burrow isn't going to make any turnovers. I think they're going to keep the ball away from Tua and those wide receivers. And I think LSU is going to go in and win the game.
You know, I can see that happening, but they better execute on all that stuff. They can't turn the ball over at Alabama.
I think that with Joe Burrow and Tua in this game, I would not be shocked at, say, if Alabama wins this game, I would not be shocked to see Tua walk away with the Heisman. Oh. And if Joe Burrow and LSU can go in and pick up the victory, I wouldn't be shocked at him being pretty much winning it now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Yeah. I don't even think you have to ask me at this point.
Oh,
you know how I'm rolling in this game.
How
LSU, Coach O, this is a magical season, special season for LSU. I've got them going all the way to the national championship game. I don't know if Joe Burrow wins the Heisman. I think if he comes out, if they come out and they hang 40 on Bama and win by 2 touchdowns.
Look at all the touchdowns he's thrown so far with. What was he thrown 1 or 2 interceptions? I mean, come on.
He has changed that LSU offense.
Oh,
For so long, they have not. Their biggest question mark was always the quarterback position.
Yeah.
And are we going to be able to generate more points than the other team?
And another thing that could factor into his Heisman candidacy. He's got a great story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That stuff factors into a Heisman.
Well, and, you know, they say that he almost beat Dwayne Haskins out for that starting job at Ohio State before he transferred to LSU. So, I mean, he's a guy who's had – think about that Ohio State quarterback room a couple of years ago. I mean, it's loaded. I mean, Urban Meyer really had some talent in his quarterback room a few years back. But I've got LSU in this game, LSU to win outright. That point spread is going to come way down come Saturday, though. I got to think all of the money's going on LSU.
If not, there's a lot of money going right there.
Yeah. So we'll move on to Wake Forest at Virginia Tech. Wake Forest is ranked number 22 at the moment, I believe. They're 3-point favorites on the road at Virginia Tech. Josh Blankenship, who we got?
Well, I don't know much about either one of these two teams. So I just kind of went Virginia Tech just to try and maybe
at home.
It makes sense.
I went Wake Forest on the road.
I'm gonna go Vautech.
I took Wake Forest in this one. I picked against them earlier this year, I think against UNC, and they ended up winning. So this week I'm riding with the Demon Deacons. And then another big game. You know, LSU and Alabama is a huge game this week, but Iowa at Wisconsin is just as big, huge Big Ten implications in this one. Wisconsin 8.5-point home favorites.
Seems high.
It does seem a little bit high because Iowa is very good.
Very good.
Yeah, very good.
Well, both top 15 teams, right?
Yeah, both top 15 teams. And Virginia or Wisconsin was a team that was in the playoff discussion just a few weeks ago. Yeah. Iowa at Wisconsin.
I love Wisconsin, dude. I'm not going to pick against Wisconsin. That's my pick.
I think I was going to cover that 8.5, but I picked Wisconsin at home. Tough place to play.
I'm going to go with Iowa and upset.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad pick at all. This is another one I had to
I don't either.
Really think about. I'm with Randy. I think if this number stays the same or even goes up, I'm all over Iowa to cover this 8.5 points, but I think Wisconsin wins the game. I picked Wisconsin. And then Appalachian State at South Carolina. South Carolina only 4-point favorites against Appalachian State.
Appalachian State's made it into the top 25. Yeah. They're on a roll.
Which is crazy, by the way.
Yeah, I mean they're always a solid team.
Yeah, they're always good. I mean, they had probably one of the biggest upsets in college football history. Yeah. 6 years ago against Michigan, 7 years ago.
Yeah, even before they were D1.
So Josh Blankenship, Appalachian State at South Carolina.
I'm taking the Gamecocks.
I went Appy State.
I'm going to go with South Carolina. I think Will Muschamp is going to have the team ready.
Yeah, I mean, they look great against Georgia. I picked South Carolina in this game, but I don't hate that Appalachian State pick.
I don't hate it. I'm not a big fan of that South Carolina team this year. I think there's a lot of flaws there.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Randy.
Definitely.
I hate South Carolina, but I'm good.
I think Appalachian State's one of those teams that's not going to beat themselves. Yeah. And I think that's why I picked them. I mean, I don't think they're going to go in there and make too many mistakes.
Well, and that's a classic track game, for a team like that. So, and then moving into Kentucky or Tennessee at Kentucky. At the moment, Kentucky, I saw it at 3.5, and it seems like it moved just overnight to 2.5. Kentucky's 2.5-point favorites at home against Tennessee. Listen, we should have freaking won this game last year. Tennessee made us look bad at Tennessee 24-7. They beat us last year. Sawyer Smith should play Josh Blankenship. I can tell by the look in your eye. I feel like you've already picked Tennessee.
I did.
Jesus.
Sadly,
can you believe this kid?
Listen, and this was not because I wanted to pick Tennessee. I think I have just lost all faith in the Wildcats this season. I mean, this season to me, it's a wash. Let's get ready for next year.
It's not a wash.
And I'll go ahead and apologize to everybody watching this. We've got a Tennessee fan here.
Yeah, I figured we were going to go that way. We're in a Kentucky sandwich with Tennessee on the outside here. So you got Tennessee then?
I have Tennessee big.
Oh, God.
Big. I think that last few weeks, Coach Jeremy Pruitt has had us looking really good. We're not really kicking ourselves in the ass like we had been doing at the beginning of the year. My one fear is, Wes mentioned Sawyer Smith playing for Kentucky. The last time Kentucky started a wide receiver at quarterback, they broke the streak.
Yeah,
that is my only hesitation on this. But, hey, I think that we're going to go into Lexington and win big. Go Vols, baby.
I'm going UK. There's no way I'm picking Tennessee ever. I hate UT.
Yeah, I will die and come in last place in these picks before I pick Tennessee over Kentucky. I've got Kentucky in this game, and they're going to cover. I think they win by more than 2.5 points. Gosh, man, this is a big game. Though. I want.
We have to have it. We have to have it.
Oh, and just side note. Our nightmare is coming true because Willie Taggart got fired from Florida State after that game Saturday night, and
you could see the writing on the wall.
Yeah, Mark Stoops is already on that short list.
I actually saw earlier today that he's already been asked questions.
You know he's going to be. I mean, that's got to be the hot subject for him right now. Anywhere he goes, he's got the tie to Florida State, help them win a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
the thing I think that will be interesting. I also saw another name pop up and said that Lane Kiffin has already made it known that he's interested.
I bet he is.
I
bet Lane Kiffin is interested.
I think that Florida State job is going to be huge.
That might be a one-way interest right now. I don't think Florida State's looking at Lane Kiffin like,
all right, Lane Kiffin, we know you're interested.
We know you're in Florida. You can just stay there and watch what we do.
Yeah, and I think if this would have happened last year, I think Mark Stoops would have been way higher on the list. I think the fact that Kentucky obviously isn't having the season.
I still think he's one of the top 2.
I do too, but I got to think that there's some names ahead of him on that list. Teams are going to be, any team like Florida State, which is such a storied program, going to be looking at guys like Urban Meyer and names like that are going to come up.
He's the number one on everybody's list. He's got to be.
So Tennessee at Kentucky. Kentucky wins. Mark that down.
That was the in-between.
I'm really starting.
That's so good. Everybody, okay, going into the NFL weekend, and again, I feel like I could just get up and walk out on this one. I might as well just start flipping a coin.
It's what it is. It's a coin toss.
I'm pretty sure I've gone 0 for 4 on NFL picks at least 3 times this season, including this past weekend, which made no sense.
None.
No sense whatsoever.
Across the board. Even the games we didn't pick, it made no sense.
Yeah, it just made no sense whatsoever. So the first game on our docket is Detroit at Chicago. Chicago absolutely stinks, but Detroit stinks pretty bad too. Chicago's a 2.5-point home favorite. Detroit at Chicago. Blankenship.
I got Detroit. At least they got their quarterback situation figured out.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess you can say anything. I guess
Matt Stafford.
Why not?
Not getting it done, but I went Chicago. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Why not?
I'm going to go with Detroit. I need Kenny Galladay to have a big day for my fantasy team. So
yeah, I don't even want to talk fantasy football.
Yeah, I mean, we can leave fantasy. Yeah, he beat me yesterday. Corey beat me yesterday. Without a kicker, and I started D.D. Westbrook. I hate those early kickoffs. It got me at like 10 o'clock. I was like, damn it, he's starting or he's out. I took Detroit in this game because, I mean, I don't know. At this point, I really don't know. More than likely, Chicago will come out and look like they're going to the freaking Super Bowl this week. Mitch Trubisky might look like Tim Brady. I have no idea what's going on in this league.
Did you say Tom Brady or Tim Brady?
I might have said Tim Brady. Hey, that's his brother. Mitch Trubisky might look like Tom Brady's brother. I don't know.
That would still be an improvement for Mitch
I'd take Tim Brady over Mitch Trubisky any day of the week. Okay, you know what? We'll save this one. New York Giants at the Jets. New York Derby here. The Jets are 2.5, or the Giants are 2.5-point favorites. The Jets are awful. They killed me this weekend. They're terrible. We don't have to talk about that, but the Jets are awful. They get beat by the Dolphins yesterday.
The Dolphins.
Which is good for us Bengals fans.
Yeah, we want that number one pick.
No, I'll take that.
We want that number one pick.
Yeah, I'll take it. Josh, Giants at Jets. Go ahead.
I got the Giants. I think it's going to be a battle of the running backs. I think the Jets will feed it to Le'Veon. I think the Giants will feed it to Saquon. And
well, you're really going out on a limb there. All right.
I went Jets. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm going to go with Giants. I think that Sam Darnold is going to be seeing ghosts again this week.
Yeah, you're probably right.
He'll be seeing Tim Brady out there.
I just want to point this out again. I was so big on the Jets preseason. They are 1-7.
This guy was all about Sam Darnold.
I was drafting Jets offensive weapons on my fantasy teams. I got Robbie Anderson on every fantasy team I got.
I heard the whole spiel on Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, I was all in on Sam Darnold, and I picked the Giants in this game because I'm done with the Jets after this past weekend. Minnesota at Dallas. Dallas 3.5, or they're 3-point favorites at home against Minnesota. Minnesota's another one of those teams I can't get my head around. I thought for sure they'd win, and then they go to KC and get beat by Matt Moore. So
this was a super hard pick for me because I actually like Dalvin Cook a lot in Minnesota. I think he's probably this year.
Well, I don't think Dalvin Cook's the problem. I think it's Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying
you like that
balling. So I mean, I kind of wanted to pick Minnesota in this, but I picked Dallas. I kind of like the way Dallas has played this year. I mean, yeah, they've been kind of iffy in games, but I mean, all in all, I think they're still a really good team, and I think
I went Dallas. I mean, I don't know. I don't like either team. I like Dallas more of the two teams.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Minnesota. It seems like one of those games that I think Kirk Cousins is going to show up for, and then he's probably going to get in bed next week.
Yeah, he does that. I took Dallas in this game. I picked Minnesota last week, and again with the Jets, same deal. They just let me down. Dallas, good offense. The Vikings on paper should have the best offense in the NFL.
They should.
They've got weapons everywhere. Kirk Cousins is awful.
They got a
He's awful. He's awful. He's
and
terrible.
they have a good defense. They should be.
They got my favorite head coach in the NFL right now, Mike Zimmer.
Yeah, Mike Zimmer, great head coach.
Think they missed Teddy Bridgewater?
They'd probably go out and get him if they wanted to before the trade deadline anyway. I mean, that's already passed. All right, last game we're going to talk about in the NFL. Baltimore at Cincinnati. Baltimore is a 10-point road favorite in Paul Brown Stadium. And listen, every loss we take is a good thing.
It's good. It's good.
I've never been a guy that roots for losses.
This is the year. We want the number one pick.
We want the number one pick.
We got some good players. Number one pick, who knows?
Also, I just don't really understand the rationale behind not at least shopping A.J. Green. He's going to leave.
Why didn't they shop Andy Dalton they knew
Nobody
they were
wants him.
I know that, but still.
Right.
They knew they were going to bench him.
Yeah. They knew they were going to bench him.
You might get a third or a fourth round pick from somebody.
If you're Mike Brown, do you think, well, maybe I've got a chance at re-signing A.J. Green? Because there's no chance in that happening.
Well, if you're Mike Brown, you don't think.
You just don't care. You're asleep in the stands at the game.
Here's the thing. If you're Mike Brown, you might throw $20 million at A.J. Green next year. If he likes him, who knows what this guy's going to do.
That's true. If you all are going to bring in a quarterback with one of your top picks, because you're going to be in the top 5 no matter what.
We want number one.
Yeah.
We want one.
If you draft a quarterback, is A.J. Green more likely to stay because he gets a new quarterback?
I think A.J. Green's at that point in his career where he's suffered long enough, he wants to go and win.
Unless Mike Brown just decides he wants to throw all kinds of money at him for whatever reason Mike Brown has.
My thinking is...
There's no logic, though, when it comes to Mike Brown. We got to remember that.
Listen, I think we should go ahead and stop this conversation because the more you guys keep talking about A.J. Green leaving, the more I can just envision seeing him in a Patriots jersey, and I don't think anybody wants that to happen.
I mean, if we can get something for him, I would be perfectly fine with that. I'd rather see him in a Patriots jersey than a Steelers, Browns, or Ravens jersey.
Absolutely, all day.
I mean, so, all right. I don't really even have to ask you, but Baltimore at Cincinnati.
And you can gloat
Baltimore,
now.
by the way.
You can gloat now for the New England. I put that on there because I knew you would pick that.
England's ass, and I was so happy. Last night, I was running around the apartment, and I really couldn't contain my happiness.
So you're picking Baltimore?
I got Baltimore in this one. I think it's going to be.
I went Baltimore. I mean, I wanted to pick Cincinnati, and we played them pretty well the first time around. I'm not picking them in.
Hey, man, we look significantly better.
Well, Ryan Finley gets his first career start against Baltimore, and who's historically always had a good D. I don't think that adds up to a win in my book, so I'm going to go with Baltimore.
Yeah, and no, I say, I thought about picking Cincinnati in this just to try to put that jinx theory to the test, but we don't need it. We're just awful. We're the only winless team in the NFL, and how crazy is it to say the only undefeated team is San Francisco 49ers? Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback.
Rolling right now.
Rolling. I took Baltimore in this game because I need Cincinnati to keep losing. Miami is terrible. All right, Miami's awful. The Jets are awful.
Washington's awful.
We may need to not win a game all year to secure that number one pick.
Might. And we might not win one.
Well, it depends if any of those one-win teams win another game. Because then you can sacrifice.
Well, I mean, we got Miami late in the season. Yeah, that could determine
that could determine. I think we play Washington, too, at some point. I think we got Washington and Miami late in the season. So that could be like the suck bowl for the number one pick.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
So you guys both wanting Tua?
Yeah, of course. I mean, for me,
I just want to look at who the options are and know we get the right guy.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I'm not going to say anybody right now. I want to see the combine, see the numbers.
Historically speaking, even if the Bengals do have the number one pick, they will blow it.
Oh yeah,
Achilles Smith.
Yeah, we always do.
Yeah. So if the Bengals end up with the number one pick, they might end up taking Justin Herbert, who. Yeah, we want to see the combine.
They might end up taking Tim Brady.
Yeah, they might take Tim Brady. I don't know. I don't know who they might take a tight end who is basically a lineman.
We love tight ends.
Yeah,
Drew Sample.
Drew Sample, great pick this year.
You know what kills me?
Yeah.
What kills me?
They don't play the whole season.
What kills me is we took Drew Sample and seeing DK Metcalf out there for Seattle just balling, and we passed up on DK Metcalf
for Drew Sample. Yeah, that's the Bengals for you. I mean, this is being a Bengals fan. We can only hope that they do their due diligence. They take the best player available. If we're lucky enough to end up with that number one pick, because the season's not over.
No,
there's plenty of terrible.
We can find a way to start winning games, knowing this team.
Yeah, we could find a way. All right, we got a couple of local teams and just local high school, different local high school teams that deserve a little recognition.
Yeah, Pikeville's cross country team finished second in the state in the state meet this weekend. We've done stories with Harrison Boer and those guys before. They set a goal. They wanted to win the thing, but they said we want a top 3 finish. They finished fourth once in school history. This is the best they've ever done, a runner-up finish. They deserve a lot of credit. Yeah. Good job to those guys. They work hard. Had 2 guys have podium finishes, Harrison Boer and Drew Hurley, I believe, both finished in the top 15. We also had this weekend Wesley Christian Academy. They had a showcase this Saturday, and they had a lot of prep teams in. Randy Casey down there. I went down there and covered it. Very good. I mean, go check these guys out.
Coach Casey's going to do phenomenal.
Oh my goodness, there's talent. They've got a 7'1" kid in there. They probably got 2 or 3 kids just on Wesley Christian who were D1 prospects. Probably over on that tournament, there were probably anywhere from 5 to 10 to D1 prospects in that tournament.
Nice.
And also, we got to give a shout-out to Al Holland and the U-Pike Bears football team. They went down to Cumberland, picked up a 27-0 shutout win, the second shutout win. That defense is rolling. U-Pike keeps getting better and better. They improved to 4-4 on the season, so they're just rolling right now.
All right, big shout-out to all those guys. Great job. And for our special guest, Cody Blankenship, appreciate you joining us. This guy, Josh Blankenship, Randy White, I'm Wes. Be sure to go down, give us a little like, give us a subscribe. Oh, and the human Swiss Army knife behind the camera.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's doing it all.
Couldn't do it without him.
Does it all.
So join us is what I'm trying to say.
Or joining
us. Nobody better. Next week's episode number 12, I don't want to hear any Tom Brady or Tim Brady.
I'm going to give a shout out to Tim Brady next week.